If you want your wife to listen to you, then talk to another woman. She will be all ears. The only person with whom you have to compare ourselves is that you in the past, and the only person better you should be. This is who you are now. When one does not have what one wants, one must want what one has. Love is a state of temporary psychosis. Maturity is the ability to postpone gratification. I have found little good about human beings. In my experience, most of them are trash. History is just new people making old mistakes. Unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. One day, in retrospect, the years of struggle will strike you as the most beautiful. In the small matters, trust the mind. In the large ones, the heart. We choose, not randomly each other. We meet only those who already exists in our subconscious. The only shame in masturbation is the shame of not doing it well. From era to era, one discovers the entire truth. When inspiration does not come to me, I go halfway to meet it. Most people do not really want freedom because freedom involves responsibility, and most people are frightened of responsibility. Out of your vulnerabilities will come your strength. We are what we are because we have been what we have been. Where does a thought go when it's forgotten? The unconscious of one human being can react upon that of another without passing through the conscious. I prefer the company of animals more than the company of humans. Certainly, a wild animal is cruel, but to be merciless is the privilege of civilized humans. Neurosis is the inability to tolerate ambiguity. One must learn to give up momentary, uncertain, and destructive pleasure for delayed, restrained, but dependable pleasure. All family life is organized around the most damaged person in it. Human beings are funny. They long to be with the person they love, but refuse to admit openly. Some are afraid to show even the slightest sign of affection because of fear. Fear that their feelings may not be recognized, or even worse, returned. But one thing about human beings puzzles me the most is their conscious effort to be connected with the object of their affection, even if it kills them slowly within. The great question that has never been answered, and which I have not yet been able to answer, despite my 30 years of research into the feminine soul, is what does a woman want? Words have a magical power. They can bring either the greatest happiness or deepest despair. They can transfer knowledge from teacher to student. Words enable the orator to sway his audience and dictate its decisions. Words are capable of arousing the strongest emotions and prompting all men's actions. Without love, we fall ill. they love, they do not desire, and where they desire, they do not love. The mind is like an iceberg. It floats with 1/7 of its bulk above water. To be completely honest with oneself is the very best effort a human being can make. Time spent with cats is never wasted. There is little that gives children greater pleasure than when a grown-up lets himself down to their level, renounces his oppressive superiority, and plays with them as an equal. Dogs love their friends and bite their enemies, quite unlike people, who are incapable of pure love and always have to mix love and hate. The only unnatural sexual behavior is none at all. When a man is freed of religion, he has a better chance to live a normal and wholesome life. Life, as we find it, is too hard for us. It brings us too many pains, disappointments, and impossible tasks. In order to bear it, we cannot dispense with palliative measures. There are perhaps 3 such measures, powerful deflections, which cause us to make light of our misery, substitutive satisfactions, which diminish it, and intoxicating substances, which make us insensible to it. If it's not one thing, it's your mother. Civilization began the first time an angry person cast a word instead of a rock. Being entirely honest with oneself is a good exercise. How bold one gets when one is sure of being loved. It is impossible to escape the impression that people commonly use false standards of measurement, that they seek power, success, and wealth for themselves and admire them in others, and that they underestimate what is of true value in life. I cannot think of any need in childhood as strong as the need for a father's protection. When a love relationship is at its height, there is no room left for any interest in the environment. A pair of lovers are sufficient to themselves. In the depths of my heart, I can't help being convinced that my dear fellow men, with a few exceptions, are worthless.